Welcome to an architect and a DJ build a home podcast. I'm the architect.
And I'm the DJ. What are we talking about today?
So, today we're continuing our conversation about where it is that you start when you're building a home. And today's focus will be your budget. How much will it cost you to build the home that you want?
So we're touching on finances
Yes.
plus planning.
Plus planning, yes.
All right.
Because when you're starting, it really is all about the planning.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we've said that plenty of times before.
Yeah.
But before we dive into it, we have our music trivia.
Yay!
Yeah.
Drum roll.
And since like we said, budgeting involves planning and money. Our music trivia involves money. And it also involves a symbol. Money and a symbol. Think about that. What song comes to mind for you?
So that's the clue.
That's the clue.
Money
Money
and a symbol.
and a symbol. And I stress a symbol.
That's a hard one,
Nothing comes to mind for you?
eh? No.
Really?
When you say symbol, I'm thinking of Prince.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, it involves money and a symbol. If you think you know what it is, let us know on our Instagram page.
Yes. Yeah. So today's show.
Money. Oh,
Money.
no. Well, budgeting. Budgeting. That's what it is.
Yes, budgeting.
And one question
Yeah.
we get asked a lot, it's the both of us.
Yes.
One question we get asked a lot when
Yes.
it comes to building is,
I thought
that's
we
as far as
got
I go.
asked a lot. So one question is, how much will it cost me? And so it comes in variations. And most of the time, what I've noticed is it's people have in mind that a 3-bedroom house is going to solve their housing need, housing problem.
Forever.
So then they ask, how much does it cost to build a 3-bedroom house? Yes. And there's something you said earlier.
I said that usually when somebody comes and asks you a question like that,
Yeah.
they will have like a figure or an amount in mind.
Yes.
They'll say, well, it cost my friend this much to build a house. So in their mind, they're thinking, it should cost me about the same, relatively the same amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just looking for confirmation from you.
Exactly. They don't really want me to tell them how much it actually costs.
No. Just confirm this figure that I already have in mind.
That I have in mind. So when we're talking about how much a house costs, it's connected, one, to what it is that you want and the context that your home is going to be built in. So when I say context, I mean your site, the environment that you're in, the distance from where you get materials. So all of those factors will affect the cost.
Yeah.
So you'll have one house, you'll have one design that's exactly the same, and in 2 different plots it will cost differently.
Okay.
Yes, because it's different factors that affect the cost. So in order to know the cost of the house that you want to build, you first have to have an idea of what it is that you want. And we've said this a lot. It even sounds like what does it sound like?
That thing that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Like that thing.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's important. It's important to say what is your vision? What is your vision for your project? What in your mind does this future home look like? And then you want to now break it down into what are your goals, so that you now get to the realistic thing, and your goals are what is this home supposed to do for you? What should it deliver? So in that, you'll be thinking through I want a 3-bedroom house. And maybe you're saying 3-bedroom house because you've got 3 kids. There's yourself. Once in a while you have guests. So then you think, okay, yes, this is what I want. Now you have to take that further and start thinking through each space that you want. What space will accommodate your needs and your lifestyle? So that takes a bit of planning, and that takes a bit of thinking through that no professional can do for you. Yes.
You have to be the one.
Yes, you have to be the one to do it. And I think a lot of people think that the professional is going to define the dream. But the professional receives your dream and then they tell you, okay, you want to do this, these are your options. Yeah. So it's really connecting with what it is that you want to do. And that we talked about in the episode about vision and goals, I think. Yeah. About dreaming. So do listen to that episode if you haven't listened to it. So 1, it's connected to what you want. 2, your environment. So we've already spoken about the site. So it is helpful at the very beginning, even before you start thinking about the design, get a professional to have a look at your plot. And then give you a sense of what you can do with it. It's even helpful, and we've put this tip before, it's helpful if you even do it before you buy the plot, if that's an option for you. Before you even buy the plot, have an idea of what you want and then communicate that to a professional and say, I'd like for you to tell me what my options are with this plot. Is this good according to what it is that I want to do? Will it help me achieve that?
We had a case, case comes to mind where a potential client came through and they wanted you to go out. They had just purchased a plot. We're thinking about building. So they got in touch. You went to the plot, had a look at it. Then some issues came up with the plot. And well, suffice to say that they're now thinking of selling the plot. They can't go ahead with building on the plot because of the issues that came up on the plot.
So I think it's important before you make an investment, and that's one thing. That's one point that should be put across. Building a home is a huge financial commitment, and you have to plan for it because we don't get this money every day. If you have the opportunity to be able to save money or to be able to access money in order to build your home, plan well for it, make good decisions with how you're going to use that money, because it is a lot.
It is.
Yeah. So we looked at what it is that you want and how that informs how much your house will cost. Then we'll also look at how much you can afford. So this will need you to look at your personal finances.
Okay, when you say how much you can afford, what do you mean?
Yes. Because it's one thing to say, I want a house, but it's another thing to be able to pay for it. So where you are, can you actually pay for it? And so what it will require is for you to look at your income, for you to look at your spending, for you to look at your finances, to say, okay, we want to make this transition. We have this income. Are we now able to have a house in the picture?
So when you say you're looking at your income, you're looking at what you have, are you strictly working with the money that you have at the moment or money that you hope to get as well in the future?
So it's not necessarily the money that you have at the moment, because I could have a contract that is giving me money every month. So with that, I can plan how that money is going to be used. It's just that I'm not getting it now, isn't it?
Okay.
But then I'm able to plan to say, okay, I can save this amount of my salary to do this. When a house comes in a picture, a lot of people have to find other ways to make that income. But in order to make those decisions of what other ways and what options do I have, you first need to know what it is that you're working towards. So you'll first need to know, this is how much the house I want is going to cost, and this is what I need to do to get there. Or I think it's possible for me to get there by doing this, this, and this.
Okay.
And then you have a better chance of succeeding. But a lot of the times what happens is, I've got a 50,000. I can start now. With this 50,000, I can buy this. Then I'll add on another. So without considering what the total cost will be, it's just like, okay, I want this and I'm going to go like this. So what I'm suggesting is understand what the big picture is. And understanding the big picture doesn't mean that you've got all the money there and then, but understanding the big picture helps you to get to it.
So the picture, the picture.
The picture.
The big picture would be knowing how much the entire project will cost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that will be, if you're going to spend anything in the planning stages, the best place to spend it is to figure that out.
Yeah.
Even if it means that your dream is going to be adjusted a little because of what your reality is, you will have a better chance of success if you do it in that way.
And I suppose we cannot stress enough how important this is. And I know it's from experience, it's not an easy thing. Because we've seen it time and time again. When you get to this part and you tell the client, listen, you need to know how much it will cost. And for those that go the distance and actually find out how much it will cost, it can be, what's the word? It can be it can be a lot. And most don't even come back. They just go.
Yeah, I think it feels disheartening because it's like somebody is telling you can't get your dream. Yeah,
and that's not what we want to hear.
No, it's difficult to hear. But then there are ways. So if you're building as an individual, it's actually going to be cheaper for you than hiring a contractor to do everything, because you'll be managing the process. So there's more room for you to find savings because of you managing it. But because you're managing it, you have to be aware of what it is that you are managing. And you have to get the right help at the right time so that you know where it is that you can save money. But it will actually be a cheaper process for you. But to make that process successful and to help you build something that's good quality, because if you're making this financial commitment, it takes a lot to make the financial commitment. You want to make sure that your investment is going to be, so you want to make sure if you're doing it for your families, it's generational wealth you're creating. So then you don't want to create something that 2 years it starts crumbling, or you have major issues. So the planning part will help you get there. And if you have to adjust, there are professionals who can help you to say that, okay, these are your options. And there's a lot of information about how you can do things more affordable, and there's a lot of information about good design that is affordable. So it's not something that's out of your reach. It's just that when you get over the initial hurdle of, it costs this much, because it's no lie, it costs a lot of money to build. Yes. So, but be ready for that. Don't be disheartened by the information that it costs a lot, and then plan well. Because whether you're saving up to build the house, and you could find that when you go through this process, this planning process, you could find that you're not actually ready. it's fine to say, okay, I think I need to adjust my timeline.
I need to give it more time.
Yeah, so that I give myself time to be able to get this.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got accommodation, you're not under any pressure to move out. You've now got information that helps you to plan what the next steps are going to be. Yeah, so if you're saving, you need to know what you're saving towards. So having this information will help you. If you're going to get money from the bank, that's now a different story. If it's a bank, if it's a building society, or wherever you're getting financing for your home, they're going to want to know that you know what you're doing with your project. They're going to, before they give you the money, they want to know that, is there a project, first of all? Is there a project? Are we going to be sure that this house that this person is building is going to be good quality in case they can't pay us our money and we need to take it away? So if you haven't done the planning work beforehand that shows to the bank, I've got this, they're not going to lend it to you. Yeah. So in either way, whether you're doing it with your own resources or whether you're going to get financing, it's very important that you actually plan and you actually confirm before you start that, one, your project will happen within the reality that you have.
Okay.
Yeah. Then just a note on how much it costs to build here in Zambia. So there are for basic finishes, the current estimate that's being used is about $300 per square meter. So then in order to find out what the house you want will cost, you'll then have to have an idea of the size that you're building. So then that's why I say, understand what you want. What rooms do you want?
How big
should they be? And that information has to come first. Then you'll have a bit of an idea. So that's how estimates for houses are calculated. So the basic is around $300 per square meter.
Okay.
And then at the higher end, where you're talking about fancy finishes like porcelain tiles, you've got your aluminium sliding doors and windows, then you're going beyond, you're going to $500, $600 per square meter.
Because that was actually going to be my next question. I was going to ask that $300 per square meter, does that include finishing? And what kind of finishing?
It's very basic. It's very basic finishes. Okay. So maybe you're not going to have tiles everywhere. Maybe you're looking at steel windows. And you see that the other thing is that I think a good quality house, the way people have defined a good quality house is that it has to have tiles.
Of course, it needs to have. You're telling people no tiles?
You don't need to have tiles. You don't need to.
This is what they don't want to hear.
To have them everywhere in order to say your house is a good quality house. You can say, because you're on a limited budget, you can say, okay, where will we benefit from using these tiles? So then maybe you'll look at the wet areas, so like your bathrooms where water can get into the walls and whatnot. And it's easier to clean when you've got tiles. So then you'll say, okay, I'll have it around the bathtubs and whatnot. But everywhere else, we can just have a concrete floor. And then later when we've got money, we can now add tiles. But what would be important is that the room, so say for instance in the sitting room, if you've decided not to put tiles, does the sitting room work for your lifestyle? Is it comfortable to use? Do you have space for everything? And if your design allows you to live the way you want to live, then it's a good quality home.
After what you've said, I think we need to do an episode on how I think people need to be a bit more open and adventurous when it comes to building and not just stuck, because usually it's just, like you said, it needs to have tiles because every house has tiles and there's only one way of doing it. But, you can find that there's a cheaper and even better way of building.
Yes. I think perceptions are changing because there was a time for a high-end house, everybody was just doing aluminium windows. So if you wanted that your house should be high-end aluminium windows, but steel windows can look just as good. It's design, it's workmanship.
I have seen some beautiful houses with some steel windows.
Yes.
I know a guy I know a guy.
You see, you're the problem.
Seriously, I know a guy. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the whole process of building a house can also help you to be open to what design can do when you've got limited resources. Good design will deliver a good house.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good place to stop today's episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a bittersweet episode today, and lots of canceling involved.
But I thought it was good though.
No, it was.
Remember the first time we talked about money? Yeah, and I didn't really have very good answers. Yeah, so I feel better that
you've grown since then.
I've grown since then, and I know better, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to run through quickly before we go?
So how much will it cost to build your house is connected to what it is that you want. What it is that you want and the environment within which your plot exists. So it's not going to be the same for everybody. And especially when you want to you're creating your own home. It's not going to be the same as your neighbor's home or someone else's. So you should take that into consideration. The second point is how much can you afford? So you're really looking at your personal finances and looking at, if we're going to make this commitment of building a house, what is it going to look like and how is it going to affect our finances? How do we need to make adjustments in order to accommodate this thing that we want to do? And finally, this planning information at the beginning is very important. It will help you. It gives you information on which to make very good decisions on. And it can be difficult to swallow, especially if what you had in your mind is not matching with your reality. But going through the process will then help you to give you tools that can then adjust to what your reality is and still get a good quality home. I guarantee it.
She guarantees it.
I guarantee
it. She does. Yeah. And on that note, that's where we end today's episode. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Yes, thank you. An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast is a Home Build Zambia production, recorded and produced in Lusaka. The show is hosted by Kalenga, he's the DJ, and me, Mphangela, I'm the architect. Video recording by Sharon Malama, music by Bless the Creative, technical support provided by Bless the Creative. You can find us on Instagram at home_build_Zambia or on our website homebuildzambia.com, or contact us by email podcast@homebuildzambia.com. Thank you for listening.